Good evening. We hope you've been enjoying our programs. At a time when schooling and education has been interrupted, this evening's session, Going Home to Israel, Stories from Our Students, will demonstrate how Jewish National Fund's AMHSI High School in Israel is providing a safe semester study abroad academic experience for high school students right now. Please welcome MUS alum and JNFuture Root Society member, Gali Gordon.
Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Gali Gordon. I'm a proud graduate of the AMHSI High School in Israel, a proud member of the JNFuture Root Society, and currently work at MASA Israel Journey. I'm so pleased to be here tonight as part of this session, Going Home to Israel, Stories from Our Students. It couldn't be more representative of who I am. This year has certainly been an eventful year, to say the very least. Between, a global pandemic, quarantines, lockdowns, these are all words that are part of our vocabulary. Who would have thought hearing that in February 2020? But in the midst of all this chaos, Jewish National Fund and our AMHSI High School in Israel have brought 100 students to Israel this past September. You heard that right, 100. I've always been a proud AMHSI alum, but today I am even prouder. We're going to spend the next 40 minutes meeting some of these amazing students from all across the United States. I know these stories will inspire you as they've inspired me over the many years. Let's get started by hearing from some of our high school students currently studying at AMHSI High School in Israel. Take it away, Lior.
All right, so welcome once again to JNF's AMHSI High School in Israel. We are sitting with
Jaden Gummerman.
Jaden Gummerman from
North Carolina.
From North Carolina.
Yeah.
We have a student from North Carolina. How'd you hear about this program?
Well, I go to camp in New York. I go to a Young Judaic camp, and a lot of people there did the summer session, and I just thought it would be really cool to do the school.
So your friends told you to go, and you said, okay.
Pretty much.
It was that easy.
I was considering it, but then with all the Corona stuff, I was like, this would be the perfect time to go outside my boundaries and experience this awesome.
That's fantastic. So good to hear. So what made you choose to come on the full semester program?
Well, I feel like back home there's really not a lot to do, and I think you could have a really great experience here. In 4 months, I've never spent that much time out of the country, and it just sounded so amazing.
So even though you had a 2-week quarantine and now we're on this sort of lockdown, you're still happy with your decision?
I am, yeah. I enjoyed the quarantine, to be honest, and
You enjoyed the quarantine?
Yeah. I loved my capsule people I was with. They were really nice.
So what was a highlight of the quarantine?
There were multiple things. We made a video. It was a lip syncing video. It was very funny. It took us a few hours, and by the end we were all dying laughing. It was really funny.
You had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
What were you hoping to gain out of this 4-month experience?
I'm hoping to make a lot more friends. I'm hoping to understand Israel on a better level. I think from America you really see one side, but actually be there and experience it is completely different.
So you're happy you made this decision?
Oh, 100%.
No regrets?
Nope.
So if you, even with everything happening here, if you had to recommend this program to your friends back home, would you?
100%.
Okay, hi, I'm Daniel. I'm from San Francisco, California. I decided to come to MUS. I wanted to come last spring for the 8-week mini-mester, but because of the coronavirus and all those complications, I couldn't come. So we decided to come now for the full semester, just to experience Israel as a place and to connect more with my roots because I'm Israeli and American.
Very nice. And you, where are you from? What's your name?
I'm Noam. I'm from Miami, and honestly, I completely agree. I came to MUS because I wanted to get more in touch with the Israeli side of me, not just stories from my parents about the army and living in Israel and visiting in the summers. I wanted to be here for myself.
Cool. And you?
I'm Nadav. I'm from Miami, and simple. Who doesn't want to be in Israel? Especially now that I'm going to be sitting at home doing homework online when I could be in person with an actual teacher, which for me being online is not. I can't really learn that way. It's very simple.
So was there any doubt for you guys about coming Dafka now, even though you knew you'd be in quarantine and now there's a lockdown? That must be a bummer, no?
It is a bummer. Obviously it is, but when you look at it in the big picture, we're in Israel.
I am sitting with
Emerson Hogan.
And Emerson, where are you from?
I'm from San Francisco, California.
San Francisco, California. What high school do you go to?
I go to Camp Lindo High School. It's in the Bay.
In the Bay Area. Well, fantastic. And we're so happy to have you here. Emerson, I want to ask you, why did you decide to come to Israel now?
Well, it's my senior year, and I've always wanted to do something different and out of the box. And since I knew I was going to be an online school, I just started looking up programs specifically in Israel. And this program has such a great reputation, and so I just jumped on the opportunity.
And so we have all kinds of sessions, but you decided to come on the full 18-week semester.
Yes.
Why?
I have two friends who came, and they gave raving reviews of it, and I just knew that I was going to love it, so I didn't want to have to leave halfway through. I knew I was going to be super happy here.
We don't blame you. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
Well, we're happy you chose our full semester. Let me ask you, what do you hope to gain out of this entire experience? What do you want to take back to San Francisco with you?
I'm really hoping to gain perspective on my Jewish identity in the States versus in Israel. There's so much history of Jewish history, and it all basically occurred here. So I'm super excited to see the country and to learn a lot.
Take it all in. And finally, what you spent 2 weeks in quarantine. What was the highlight of your quarantine experience here?
I loved my quarantine experience. I had a great time. And I think that what made it so great was they planned really great activities, and I had such a fun group of girls. So definitely hanging out with my friends.
That's awesome. Well, we're so happy you chose us and that you came here to Israel. If you want to say hi, Mom, hi, Dad out there.
Hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Love you guys.
I am here with
Max Kaplan.
Max Kaplan. Max, where are you from?
I'm from Mahwah, New Jersey.
Mahwah, New Jersey. Very, very nice. And you are here in Israel on the semester. Let me start off with asking you, why did you decide to come to Israel now with all that's happening in the world?
Well, I decided to come to Israel now and do the full semester of the Alumnus program in Israel because it's an 18-week long program, and although 2 weeks will be in quarantine and now 3 weeks in lockdown, there's still many, many other weeks that we'll be able to go on Tiolim and adventures and go all around Israel and explore and have a great time.
Very nice. And why did you choose the Alumnus High School in Israel?
Well, my older brother did the program 2 years ago, and I followed in his footsteps, and he said it was an amazing experience, so I decided to try it out, and so far I've had a blast.
Wow, so this is like a family thing.
Yeah.
Let me ask you one more question. So, and what do you hope to get out of this entire experience when you go home? What do you want to take home with you? I'm sure there's a lot, but if there's one thing.
Well, there's a couple things. One thing is I want to have a more deeper understanding and connection to what Israel means to me, as well as I want to learn the Hebrew language more and hopefully speak it a little more fluently by the time I'm done.
Very good. I am sitting with
Maytal Perlin.
Maytal Perlin. Maytal, where are you from and what high school do you go to?
I'm from Seattle, Washington, and I go to Seattle Academy High School.
Oh, fantastic. Let me ask you something. Why did you choose to come to Israel now?
I chose to come to Israel because I love this place and I want to deepen my connection to it. And right now I have this time that seems very empty and I need to fill it up, and what better place to be than in Israel?
Absolutely, and there are so many out there who wish they could be here too. It's really a blessing. Let me ask you, what was if you had one, a highlight of your quarantine?
The highlight of my quarantine was probably the capsule games we played on our floor.
Cool.
The competitions between capsules.
Nice, capsule game. And what are you hoping to get out of this entire experience here?
I really hope to deepen my Jewish connection and my connection to Israel and just figure out what all this stuff means to me, and also to make some great new friends.
Absolutely, absolutely. Very, very nice. And I understand we're entering a color war phase, right? You're wearing the gray t-shirt.
Yes.
So we're on the same team, right? Go Gray.
Go Gray team. Go
but
on.
at the end of the day, the number one team is AMHSI, and we always end our videos with AMHSI.
Wow, these students are incredible. I honestly wish I could go back myself right now. There are so many other ways that Jewish National Fund connects people to Israel. This coming summer, yes, you heard that right, this coming summer, we'll be sending 120 high school students on routes to Israel and a 4-week service learning trip. They'll explore the length of Israel, the breadth of Israel, and see everything through the lens of Jewish National Funds, while at the same time giving back, cleaning beaches, volunteering in soup kitchens, and working the land. Let's have a look.
Roots Israel is a program where you get to do service, but you also get to make connections and really connect to our homeland. It really helps you see Israel from a different light.
You really get in touch with the land and you get to know Israel on a really personal level through all the hikes and all the work and through the friends that you meet here. It's a really diverse group of kids, and even if we come from much different backgrounds, it's nice to get together as Jews and travel around Israel.
On Roots Israel, it really teaches you how actions matter more than words. You can say what you want and give money to what you want. Once you get your hands dirty, you really feel what it's like to actually physically make a difference. And to be in Israel, getting your hands dirty is one of the cool things about this trip.
What I really liked in this program is that we have fun, and at the same time, we learn so much things.
I really liked rafting down the Jordan. That was really fun.
We started out the day by going shepherding. We tried bringing the sheep from one place to another. And then after that, we went to a garden where we learned about different plants that grew in Israel in biblical times and how they were growing them today. We went through a tunnel.
And it was really cool. We had to kind of crawl through the caves, and we were singing inside the caves. And it was a really intimate moment.
And today we planted trees, which was really nice.
It's really strengthening my bonds in the community because just helping out people here, it feels so good. I think that it's just important to be giving back to the country that gives so much to our people.
This trip really offers the opportunity for you to connect to everything about Israel. We go from the north to the south and you learn all about it.
For college students, we run an incredible program called Alternative Winter Break. Each year, 160 outstanding students from across the United States take time from their hectic schedules to volunteer and give back to Israel at various Jewish National Fund projects, ranging from HaShomer HaChadash to Makom and everything in between. Having led this trip myself, I can't endorse it enough. Enjoy!
To go off the beaten path, see things that you would never see on a birthright trip.
Yeah! Who wants tea but didn't get tea?
We're not only giving back and doing community service, but it's really fun. You get to hang out with people from all over the country, do a lot of really fun activities.
I'm stuck, guys. It's not just a week long and then you forget about them. You actually do keep in touch, and that's why I love going on these trips.
Kind of build a connection with the land of Israel and with the residents that you're helping.
This is getting to see the real Israel.
This is the best day of my life!
It's unreal what a group of people can accomplish when they work together, when they work hard, and they enjoy doing it.
Thanks to their support and help, we will have another classroom here in Chalutza. We will have a place for our students to study.
Giving back to Israel because it's given so much to us.
Be around people who really want to find the meaning in life and do something that really makes a difference to them.
Continuing on the theme of volunteerism and service learning, I'm so excited to tell you about something brand new. Jewish National Fund and Alexander Muss High School in Israel have long contemplated running a GAP program. With so much uncertainty around the college 2020 fall semester, this was the year that seems like it would be the time for it to finally take place. Why sit at home taking classes on Zoom on your parents' couch when you could spend an amazing semester in Israel exploring the land as your classroom with the amazing AMHSI Muss educators? including the ones I was fortunate to see myself 12 years ago. With the support of our lay leadership, the education team in the US and Israel created and recruited for the program in just 6 weeks. On September 1st, 25 college freshmen and sophomores boarded an El Al flight to take part in Frontier Israel and enter Israel's borders on a AMHSI visa. Take it away, Lisa.
Hi, my name is Tess. I'm from Greenwich, Connecticut, and I'm going to the University of Pennsylvania next year.
Okay, so what brought you to this program? How'd you get on it? Why?
When I found out that college was online for the next semester, I thought that a very nice alternative would be to come to Israel, along with most of the people in this program. I thought this program would be a good opportunity to rediscover my personal relationship with Judaism, separate from the relationship my family has.
Okay. And any exciting moments so far, whether volunteering or from classes or holidays, anything that particularly spoke to you?
My favorite volunteer opportunity so far has been working with the Wezo Center. We did some repainting, and it was really cool because to connect kind of with Israeli culture and see the center in a much more real and personal way, rather than just when you tour Israel with your family. And the people up there, they would make us traditional Israeli food for lunch, and it was just a very cool opportunity.
Okay, and what about living arrangements? How do you like Be'er Sheva? What do you think about being shut down in Be'er Sheva?
Be'er Sheva is great. It's the rooming situation is great. My roommates are very good cooks. I'm not, so it's been fun. And the city of Be'er Sheva, it's beautiful when you walk, because all you can really do in lockdown is walk. So it's been very cool to explore the surrounding communities.
And how was Bidu quarantine? How were the first 2 weeks?
Surprisingly fun. It was really great to get to know everybody. Family dinners were the highlight of Bidu. We all sit down, go over our highs and lows of the day, and just kind of get to know each other. It's a very good introduction to Israel.
Hello, I'm Lev. I'm from Los Angeles. I'm 18, and I'm a rising freshman at Princeton University.
And he is a Frontier Israel participant.
That I am, very happily so.
So we are here today to talk a little bit about your experience the last couple weeks, why you chose to come. Let's start with that. Why did you choose to come on the program?
Yeah, so it was a mixture of a lot of things. I think throughout my entire college process, the end of my senior year, I had been talking a lot about the notion of coming to Israel, and I'd always wanted to do it because I went to a Jewish camp, and it really impacted me and made me who I am. And so when all the things fell into place and my mom forwarded me an email she had gotten from JNF about this program, it just made intuitive sense that the right thing in life was to take a gap year and come here, and I'm so grateful I did it.
And how has it been? We've been in Seger, in quarantine, in Bitud.
Yeah.
How has it been?
It's honestly a lot of fun. We went from isolation, which is, I was with three other guys in a pod, and I've now expanded to the entire program. And so just the beauty of that and being able to be with everyone and to explore a little bit of Be'er Sheva with everyone, nothing's negative. It's always fun. Yeah.
And what is any highlights of volunteering or things we've done in the last 2 weeks?
Yeah, we've been doing a lot of farming, and the people we meet and the farmers are the most interesting people. And it's a lot of fun because I've been trying to learn Hebrew, and I actually knew a little bit of French from school, and I met a farmer who spoke both French and Hebrew, and so I was able to have a conversation with him wherein I was supplementing the Hebrew vocabulary that I don't have with the French vocabulary I'd learned, and we got to communicate in a language that wasn't my mother tongue, and that was a beautiful experience. And then to hear about his life and sort of the process of agriculture in Israel, and that was just amazing. Yeah.
So the point of Frontiers is to be out in the periphery. Have you learned anything interesting about the periphery or different being in Be'er Sheva versus other areas of Israel?
Yeah, Be'er Sheva is such a interesting city. It's such a melting pot of so many different people. And so we have met very interesting people. We've met Israelis, but we've also we had the opportunity while we were at a farm to speak with a Hebrew Israelite about their community. And we have been, introduced to Ethiopians and the community, the Ethiopian Jewish community in Israel. And so to be sort of in Be'er Sheva, which is, not like Tel Aviv, it's very, it's a different city, and it's such an amazing experience. And I've done, Israel trips in the past, and I think this has really shown me a different side of Israel that I'm very happy to have seen. Yeah.
How bad was Bidu? How bad was quarantine with the group?
It had its moments. There were a couple rough moments, yeah, but overall it wasn't too bad. We had this beautiful setup where we had plastic sheets
that connected all the pods. So you could come down, you could talk with the rest of the program. And so there were a couple of beautiful moments. There was one time when I came down and our Madricha counselor was in the other room. She was down in the plastic sheeting area with me. And we just started singing, and we started singing Jewish melodies and stuff I learned in my life. And it was almost like we were, there were sheets in front of us, and I hadn't gotten to talk to her. This was only the first week. And yet we both spoke a language, the language of Nigunim, of Smirot, that transcended all of that. And so it was this beautiful moment that made me really feel like, okay, I am home, regardless of what this home might look like with, bidud and quarantine and whatnot, but I'm home,
I really do wish Frontier Israel existed when I was a freshman looking at GAP programs. They sound like they're having the best time. Every year, Jewish National Fund brings hundreds of non-Jewish college students and faculty to Israel to experience the land of people of Israel through a positively Israel lens. 8 years ago, Jewish National Fund started Caravan for Democracy student leadership mission to Israel in order to bring the very best and brightest non-Jewish student leaders to Israel. So far, we've brought 445, yes, you heard that right, 445 young influencers to Israel. They have gone to see and work at Fortune 100 companies, in government, and for large non-governmental organizations. When they come back from their trip, they truly become part of the Jewish National Fund family, attending national conference, speaking in our board meetings, and participating in campaigns such as Spectacular Sunday this past spring. I'm delighted to share with you one young man's experience on Caravan.
I'm Michael Scott Peters. I'm in Israel on the Caravan for Democracy, and I'm an Aggie.
Jewish National Fund recognizes the importance of bringing campus influencers to Israel. In addition to student leaders, we bring academic professors. We know that in order to appreciate and understand Israel, one needs to see it for oneself. Jewish National Fund has sent more than 400 academics to Israel on our faculty fellowships program. And in addition to Caravan for Democracy, which students, as we all know, cycle out every 4 years or so, these academics are on campus for much longer stretches. Participants, which I think is the really special part, not only see the real Israel, but also are afforded the opportunity to forge strong bonds with Israeli academics. As a result, countless joint papers and research projects have been initiated and better bridges built between Israeli and American colleges, universities, and faculty. Here's just a taste of faculty fellowship.
Since 2008, JNF's Faculty Fellowship Program in Israel has brought 400 academics from over 130 colleges and universities in the US to Israel. Participants spend intensive 12 days touring Israel from top to bottom and meeting Israelis and seeing an Israel that is very different to what they see on the media. Upon returning to the US, our fellows amplify their positively Israel experience across multiple university channels, being students, colleagues, other faculty, administration, families and community. They're also engaging in joint research and collaboration with their Israeli colleagues in many different fields. Thanks to our major JNF donors and the Be'er Center, our fellows are changing the conversation of Israel on campus.
We currently have more than 100 students in Israel and are planning on sending hundreds more this January for the MUS and Frontier Israel spring semester. We're constantly running online programs with our world-class educators and speakers for hundreds of college and high school students at a time. And we continue to run virtual missions for hundreds of schools and synagogues with thousands of participants from across the country. Shout out to my Abba, Duby Gordon, who with Temple Israel of Natick is running his 4th trip to Israel virtually this coming week. And I'm so proud of him. And I think rumor has it he's brought the most to Israel through this program. So proud of him every day. This is just a taste of what Jewish National Fund's Israel Advocacy and Education Department does every day. Jewish National Fund never stopped believing in the future. We're the largest provider of Zionist engagement activities in the United States, and even in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic, we didn't skip a beat. Thank you for joining us.
That concludes today's sessions. Be sure to join us in closing our first ever virtual national conference in celebration and style tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific, with some fabulous musical performances. See you tomorrow.